Hello, guys, another episode of Clues, Cues, Clues, Reviews, whatever you want to call it. And today, we are reviewing chapter 465 of Fairy Tale. So, the name of the chapter today was 400 Years Ago. Much like what I covered in my last chapter review, it pretty much confirmed Zeref's not dead. He was close to getting his ass nullified, but he wasn't dead. I thought this was going to be the case purely because we were having a flashback, and who better to know about the 400-year story and background than Zeref himself, the immortal one. So there's a few things that we do kind of get tied up, and it's just amazing how these authors of manga give you little hints and little tips throughout the story to kind of make you think, okay, that is some there's something there. A lot of precursors, a lot of kind of pre-reveals without even showing you the whole story. You already knew something was going on. So to elaborate what I mean by this is, way back when Laxus got a bit excited and decided that he wanted to take over Fairy Tale, the Thunder Tribe, one of them, basically set the ruins, and you couldn't be over a certain age. I think they set it at 60 or 80, I can't remember the exact year, and people beyond that age would not be able to leave this barrier, and Gajeel and Natsu weren't able to leave, right? And you're thinking, the teenagers, why would they not be able to reveal, kind of leave the barriers? So now it's been revealed why. In a linear sequence, Gajeel, Natsu, Wendy, Sting, and Rogue are all over 400 years old. So if any of them were in that barrier, basically they would not be able to get out. So that explains that, and that was what mentioned a long time ago. Then they mentioned about the Dragon King with Acnology, and how there were certain dragons that didn't want to kill humans and the certain ones that were, right? And that was explained as well in the story. So to kind of give you an overview how it starts. So it starts off pretty much the continuation from the last attack. The forces of Zeref that were with him are shocked as hell as to how much damage Natsu can do. They're literally shocked. And Zeref was taking a beating. Granted, he didn't necessarily do much to put up for the fight. He did initially, but as soon as the attacks started coming in, he took the brunt of it, and he really wanted to see if he could get killed. And he even admitted that he goes, look, your next attack will more than likely kill me. So as Natsu charges up for his last attack, he's kind of praying, goes, come on, Igni, lend me your power, let's finish this off. Before he can finish him off, he goes, before you kill me, know this, my name is Zeref Dragneel, and I am your brother. Now naturally, there's only ever going to be two ways Natsu would react to this. Option one, oh, are you my brother? Okay, thank you, hug, yeah, we're alright, everything's good. Never going to be the case, realistically thinking about it, right? And there's option B, he's just not going to believe you, and that's pretty much what happened. A lot of the time he called bullshit on it. He goes, look, I don't believe you, you're lying, I have no idea what you're talking about. And every time he explained a little bit more, he had an answer for everything. So he explained that, yeah, A, we're brothers, B, you had died, the mother, the father, and him, Natsu, had died, and he called it Dragon Ember, so I'm assuming it's on the back of an attack by some of the dragons. He had died, and as mentioned in his previous memoirs, when he was writing stuff and he was talking to E.N.D, the book, he explained that he could not live with the reality of not having his brother in his life, so he went out of his way to recreate him. And then playing with the kind of the area or the levels of what would be considered a god, he was cursed. And he explains that he lost a lot of people in that way. He found love, he lost love. And when we're talking about that, he's on about Mavis, basically, and he even mentions Mavis. So Natsu actually doesn't believe him. Then he expands a bit further and explains that there was a dragon who was his friend. his friend was none other than E.N.D. And he's thinking, why was he your friend? And the main reason why that was because, much like explained before, E.N.D. was one of the types of dragons that did not want to kill humans. Humans were prey to dragons. Dragons were top of the food chain. Dragons ate humans. E.N.D. was one of the people that didn't want to do that. He was, for all intents and purposes, a vegetarian dragon, much like the others. So, of the dragons, there was at least 5, plus anyone that really E.N.D. kind of oversaw, like Atlas and people like that. And the plan was to have 5 humans learn Dragon Slayer magic, to have the power to defeat Acnologia. So that was their plan. The dragons' plans were just to destroy Acnologia. Now, in that given timeline, because of the abundance of dragons and the celestial beings that they are, the natural magic in the world wasn't sufficient. So they had to move the people to another time where A, there wasn't that many dragons to take up the natural resources, and B, there was an abundance of the magic that could be used to kill Acnologia. So they created the Eclipse Project. A celestial dragon opened the doors to move them 400 years into the future, called Anna, which I believe is an ancestor of Layla and Lucy. And on the other side, Layla naturally opened the doors from that side to bring them forward. And he explained, he goes, the day you lost E.N.D. was the day you came to this, effectively this timeline, and to preserve the magic and to ensure that you had the magic to, once you had enough natural abundance of magic in the area, you'd have the power to kill Acnologia. The dragons went inside you. Now the dragons at that point were in a weakened state anyway, because the natural resources were depleted at that point. So once they went into them, they were already half dead, much like it was explained in the previous chapter when they did show themselves, when they appeared, when E.N.D. went after Acnologia, when he literally took an arm off Acnologia in an half-dead state. Now, you can only imagine how powerful E.N.D. was in his prime, when in his weakened state, nearly dead, he took an arm. I think he could have taken him, but something must have happened. Same kind of thing with Acnologia. He must have been weakened at that point as well. There's something must have happened at that point. So he explains why the dragons were inside him and why, they were still with him. So how that affects the normal nature of the course moving forward, we don't quite know. It hasn't been explained in full details. But now we know that Wendy, Gajeel, Natsu, Sting and Rogue are all from 400 years ago, at least. So that was out the way. Now they explained the whole idea about him being E.N.D. He basically says, your name is Etherion or Etherius Natsu Dragneel E.N.D. He goes, that can't be, I'm human, I am not E.N.D. He goes, he was a demon. I created you, Zeref saying this, I've created you, and by chance Madgia had actually got the book, and he was actually the one that created the demons, though he thought it was all from the teachings and it was from Natsu, it was by extension E.N.D. So he goes, just by chance that was the case. So the only one that really Zeref mainly created was E.N.D. He had the few of the ones that we've seen, but the Tartaros was pretty much built up based on Madgia's creations, really. And then after all that's explained, so we've explained about the 400-year past, we've explained why the dragons are inside them, we've explained why they've got Dragon Slayer magic to kill Acnologia. He even then goes and says, I don't really care about all of that. I'm not interested in Acnologia. All I wanted you to do was be powerful enough to kill me. That's all he was interested in. He's lived long enough, he just wanted to die. That's all he was about. Now, he has his chance. Natsu has the remaining power that E.N.D. has left him. He goes in for the final attack, but he explains to him, Zeref says to him, if you kill me, it kills you. Happy hearing this, does not want that to happen. And it was a really good little heart pulling on the heartstrings, a kind of heartfelt moment when Happy heard this. Because they've been there together, they're friends. Happy sees Natsu as his dad. He's brought him up. They're basically partners. They're always together. They're always doing everything together. And he did not want to lose Natsu. So just when Natsu's about to go into the final attack, Happy stops him, gets a hold of him and says, please don't, I don't want to lose you. Natsu didn't give a shit. Natsu pretty much said, I don't care, if I die, you die, it's all good to me. But after that conversation with Natsu and Happy, Happy explains that, look, I don't want to lose you, we're friends, don't you feel the same way? And Natsu comes to his senses. As Natsu comes to his senses, goes, let's go back to the guild. And then they lose the chance to kill Zeref. Is this the end? Do I honestly see Natsu not having the power? I don't think so. Being that E.N.D was in him for so long, 7 years from the original start of the story, plus a 7 year gap, plus the years training, there's at least 15 years there that he's been training with Dragon Slayer magic. Minimum of that 7 years he's had with 7 years and 3 months or thereabouts, even a little bit more when you think of the storyline. He's had the dragon inside him. It took him 10 months to kind of acknowledge and get that actual ability out there. Do I think that's the end of his part? I don't think so. I think much like anything, if you kind of link this back to an older anime, Dragon Ball Z for example, in his more recent movie, the Battle of the Gods, he absorbs the god magic, the god kind of chi, and he incorporates that power into himself rather than having to go through that ceremony. A similar kind of thing is more than likely going to happen here. He's going to have that power in him, but like I was saying in my previous review, he's had his normal flames, he's had god flames, he's had now the Dragon King flames, he's had Atlas flames, he's had Ethorian magic, he's had the flame of rebuke, he's had so many different flames inside of him. He's even had lightning flame as well. I'm sure somehow he's going to tap into all that power and find his way. He hasn't even started tapping into E.N.D magic yet. There's so much stuff that can come out of Natsu just yet. There'll be plenty of power there without E.N.D's boost to get the job done. That being said, going back to the guild, that changed the dynamic now. So bearing in mind, Grey has set his sights on killing E.N.D without knowing it's Natsu, throws a spanner in the works. How is their rivalry and how the relationship going to change? Because bearing in mind they've been rivals since they were children, from a very young age, since they both joined the guild, right? They've been rivals as they've been growing up. But the one thing Grey's intent on is killing E.N.D. Is he going to be able to do it knowing that now it's Natsu? We're going to have to wait and see, but I was excited about this. I was waiting for this chapter to come out. I got a chance to read it at lunch. I had to read it a couple of times. I was that excited. I wanted to get all the information. It was very high in content. Not as much fighting, but that's absolutely fine considering the rest of the story that's yet to come. I'm happy that Zeref isn't dead. I'm happy that we're going to see more of Natsu. I'm guessing, and this is my theory here, that more than likely what's going to happen, they're going to somehow use the one magic, Mavis's magic, to somehow separate Natsu from Zeref so that one lives, or somehow Natsu's probably going to inherit the curse. It's going to be one of the two things, because bear in mind Mavis has got a curse as well. She's in a coma, she's technically dead but alive. Somehow using both of those kind of sides of the coins, they're going to get together and somehow Natsu's going to live. Or it can go down a tragic route and as a sacrifice he kills Zeref and himself. Either way is going to be interesting. It's a 10 out of 10 chapter for me. I love this chapter as I love all of Fairy Tail chapter. I might be biased, but I loved it. You have to check it out. I can't wait for this to get animated. That's all from me today, guys. Peace.